Jai Gurudev. Welcome to lecture on Narasimha and happy Narasimha Chaturdasi. So today, as you can see, this side can see, as you can see, we have a topic, how to cooperate with God. And of course, it's written individuality against, or maybe I would rather say in contrast of dependence on God. So maybe before we start, I would like you maybe to ask you a question, and then you can contemplate on that throughout the lecture. Because when I choose this title, I was actually thinking about it. How can I find myself, or where I see myself between these two, individuality and depending on God? So what I could ask you, so how do you understand the role in a cooperation with God? So you don't need to answer it, it's not obligated, but you can just think about it, how you see yourself with the relationship with God, with your guru, doesn't matter in your spiritual path or not, but how do you see yourself, where you can position yourself? Are you acting out of your selfish motives, or you may be acting out of service and gratitude and humbleness? So before we start the lecture, or before we understand actually Narasimha Lila, we need to go way behind to actually understand why this all happened. And to understand that, we need to go to the first part where is actually everything happened. And that's when the Jaya and Vijaya, who were gatekeepers in Vaikuntha, they were protecting gates of Vaikuntha where Lord Narayana resides. And the small little boys, as you can see, they approached them and they wanted to enter in Vaikuntha. But because they are gatekeepers and they were very tough and they think that they know what they're doing, they didn't recognize these small little boys as Kumaras, as 4 Kumaras, the sages or rishis. And they forbidden them to enter inside. And then what happened is that Kumaras, they cursed them that they're going to be born as people, as a human being. And of course, their first reaction is like, no, please, not just that. Because they know what is happening. They know what it means to go on this earth and how, let's say, how earth can become a trap. And then what happened is that they understand that on this earth there is a thing called Maya, which likes to keep people away from the real truth. And it's the similar, let's say, I don't know, I always have this feeling, is very similar to if you ever went to IKEA. IKEA is made in that way that it just keeps you in, like you can't go out. And then if you feel hungry, there is food. If you're thirsty, you can drink. And then you just need to buy one thing, and then you ended up buying 7 other different things, because why not? It looks cheap and looks good, and it is cheap and looks good. And it's similar to this, yeah? And also we can maybe connect on a positive way, is similar to Shripita Nilaya. When you come here, it's very difficult to leave. Because, it's a different reasons why we want to stay here, but it's very similar, yeah? So the Maya is the same here in the world. They know how Maya acts here and how easy it is so that people can forget, let's say, origin, from where they come from. So what they did, as, let's say, any good 2 little boys will go to his dad or maybe to his boss, And then they complain and they say, like, please, you need to save us. They went to Narayana and they say, please, you need to save us because we don't want to go there. Like, we know how it is down there because we see people who are coming here and we see everything, so we don't want to go back to earth. But what he said, the curse is a curse. Like, I can't change it. Like, I can't remove it. But he said, I can modify it. So what he did, he said, you can be born as 10 lifetimes as a devotee, or you can be born at 3 times or 3 lifetimes as enemy. And then he said, I will personally come and kill you. So what do you think, what did they choose? Second. It's very relatively easy, yeah? Because why? Because they knew that if they go down there, personally, he will come. He promised he will come and kill them. And also they are sorted out. That they know that 3 lifetimes, it will go very fast. They don't want to stay here because you remember, Maya is very tricky and she likes to keep people around. So then the first incarnation was Hiranyaksha. And so Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha were 2 brothers, and the elder brother was Hiranyaksha. And he was killed by Lord Varaha because he has a great idea to kidnap his wife. Very bad. The wife which resides on his chest, Bhudevi. So, of course, you're going to upset Lord Narayana. You don't touch his clothes. Yeah? But why he get this idea is because he knew, or he think that he knows that he is the most powerful, that he is the most powerful in the world. He actually conquered a lot of, let's say, kingdoms, and he was ruling the world. And once when the power kicks in a human being, in a mind, what else comes? It's the greed. And that's what is the common where we can see also in our life what is happening in the world. How many people you can see around, maybe so you know somebody, they all want to be powerful, they all want to be rich, they want to rule the world, and they're always greedy because power is never enough. You always want more and more and more. And it's very similar to us sometimes. Maybe not in that we're going to rule the world, but it's in very, very small things where you can find yourself that you are very greedy. Like, for example, if there is a good dinner and there is a nice, I don't know, let's say a nice soup, because now these days Guruji likes to have soup for dinner, and there's a very tasty soup, and I like soup a lot. And there is just this much in a pot, and you want a second one. And of course, before I even think about it, oh, maybe there is somebody else, maybe somebody is busy, they're coming, or maybe somebody else didn't have enough because I already have a full bowl. What I will do, I will first eat with my eyes, and while I'm doing this, I'm already putting myself in the pot and serving myself. And let's say it's a normal thing, like we all have it, just in a different ways, and we expose, because what we like and what gives us a pleasure, that's what we are aiming. And that's where the greed comes. Because you have opportunity and you think that you can, and you just become greedy. And as Guruji said, that he can't actually, that we don't know how much he do for us, or how much God is actually acting or doing for us. Because when you are in that power and when you have that greed, very often, almost every time, you forget about everything what you know. And even if you know what Guruji said, once we were sitting in front of his place, And then he said that, you know, that the things what I show and the things what you know, not just about me, but in general, he said, you know 0.0000001% of everything. And we think that we know something. And then because we know, we think that we are powerful. And so we can come here and talk, and which is actually, or share the mission, which is actually all good. But the way how we do it, it's very important. Because if we are coming in a stage of, for example, Hiranyaksha, with the pride and that's, how to say, presentation of power and conquering everything, then we actually don't know nothing. We don't even know this 0.0001%. And then actually what lead us to his, because now Hiranyaksha is killed by Varaha, by Lord Narayana. And then what lead us to his second brother, who is Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu, he was younger brother, and he was very learned. He read a lot of Vedas, a lot of scriptures. He knew a lot. And actually, because of that, he knew who Narayana was. And he told for his brother, after his brother get killed by Varaha, by Lord Narayana, he said, like, what a foolish one. He goes against Narayana. What do he think that it will happen? Of course he will get killed. Because it's normal. And that was his stand. And he didn't mourn for his brother. He was very firm. He was sure that whatever he did is a mistake. But then what happened is that what question we can ask is that why did he did that it brings him to that anger, or bring him to that point that Lord Narayana has to come again and interact and kill him? It's not because what I said, it's not because of his brother got killed, it's because what other people were telling. When, for example, when his brother were killed, Devas, who were actually, they couldn't defeat Hiranyaksha, they were celebrating, and they were mocking Hiranyakashipu that we have on our side Narayana and we are victorious. And then they were mocking his people, and then his people, Hiranyakashipu's people, were asking him, like, you are so powerful, and your brother was also so powerful, and you don't do anything. You're just standing here, and they're saying, and acting like you know everything. And they were actually just provoking him and, let's say, pointing out or picking up the ego which is inside of him, which was growing and growing and growing and growing. Because that anger inside of him was, let's say, it started like a small flame, and then every time when they were saying something, it was just adding more ghee and more ghee and more ghee until it didn't burst. And actually that's the problem that we all have, because we think so much about what people think about us, how the people see us, or how we act in front of others. Am I looking good? And am I straight enough? Am I pronouncing word correctly? Am I this? Am I that? And it's always something. And I believe that we can all find in that. If you just think about your daily routine, how much we think about that small little thing, if this will look good. Like, for example, I came here, and before I came, I was ironing my kurta. I came here, and Rishi Amara was here, and he looked at me. He said, like, "Oh, there's a stain on your kurta," and I was like, "Oh, nice." And I didn't notice. I think it was because I put oil, but still, since then I was just like, this is not good, because there are cameras, you're filmed, you're in front of people, and you have a stain. It's not nice, like as a presentable, but it's still like, it's just small, this thing, like when you're paying attention, like, am I looking good? And if this stain is going to be visible, it's not about what people will learn or what people will get. If I'm going to deliver something very nicely that people can understand, but my brain is like, now people will see my stain. Yeah, it's so funny, but it's so subtle, and it's happening to all of us, always. Yeah? And of course, what happens is that when the ego comes, or when the God finds his way to reach our, let's say, weak points inside of us, because it's happening quite often, no? Because we all think that we are so powerful, that our wall of fakeness, it's so strong that nobody can pierce. Yeah, and the God comes or Guru, and he just, yeah, he just put one small little drop somewhere, and avalanche. Yeah, emotions comes and so on. Yeah? So that's why I say that we are all fine with God as long as he doesn't touch our ego. Because Hiranyakashipu was absolutely fine with Narayana. He was like, yeah, fine. He killed my brother. He deserved it. He went against him. I'm fine with this guy. He doesn't touch me. He doesn't interfere in my things, what I'm doing on the earth. I'm good with that. Everybody celebrates me. Everybody praise me. It's all good. But once when he come in this equation, then there is a problem. Because there is something, because you understand, your ego understand there is something higher than you, which you can't maybe control. Which it's so enormous that it's just impossible to control. So Hiranyakashipu represent the ego. And what the ego doesn't like is that somebody, as I said, that somebody is higher than him. Yeah? Because ego doesn't want to share the stage together. Yeah? He doesn't want that. Maybe, especially if it's a higher, but maybe if, let's say, somebody is equal, let's say maybe equal, then you'll be like, okay, but that's already a stretch. Yeah? But higher, and then somebody comes more stronger on the stage, that ego doesn't like. And also what ego doesn't like is to just give up. He doesn't want to give up. He always wants to fight and fight and fight and try to find every single way how to conquer whatever is in front of him. And when the ego acts, and when the ego is in, let's say, in that environment or in that stage, what is happening is that all our logic or our thinking, straight thinking, is just thrown out of window. It's disappeared. It's gone. And that's actually what Narayana is doing to Hiranyakashipu. He's just slowly approaching and pointing out the finger, even without showing himself, because everything what is happening is in the head or in the mind of Hiranyakashipu. There is no Prahlad yet. Prahlad is not even born yet. There is nobody is around there. Only him making his things up in his brain, how he can do it. And I don't know for you, but this has happened also with me quite often, is that you have a conflict or something is bothering you, and then what you do, you think that, oh, I solved this. And then the thoughts keep on coming and coming and coming, and then you are trying to find a way, and then your ego is defending in yourself against that person. That person is not even there. But the ego is just having his own conversation. And you are keep on following it. Like it's so strong that you can't even just put it aside. And then what Krishna is to connect with Bhagavad Gita, because as you can see, Arjuna, who was a warrior, he's supposed to fight in a battle, and what Krishna tell him is that you're not this body, you're not this mind, you're a soul, you are eternal, and everybody who are here, they will die, but this is not the end of the life, the real life. And then he's also explaining him about different things, about knowledge and so on, and how to act without the fruits of the accepting or gaining the fruits of your action. And then, of course, Arjuna is confused and he asks a right question. In 3:36, he asks, but what is the Krishna that causes one to stray even against one's own will, as is compelled by force? And it's a very good question, because how often we find ourselves that I know that this is not good for me, but then I still do it. I know that if I'm going to sit with my phone and scroll the Instagram for 15 minutes, which is quite a lot, but 15 minutes, and I know that my brain will be fried, because there is so much information coming out from these short videos that your brain goes through like so much emotions, and you go up and down that you don't even realize. And that's what it is, because of this short satisfaction. And then you keep on making the same mistake. And then I knew it. I shouldn't do that. You have a lunch, and you pass by Bhajan Cafe, and you see warm croissant and chai. Who doesn't want warm croissant and chai? Everybody wants that, no? And you are full from lunch. And you know that this here is absolutely not necessary. You can have it in 1 hour, and it's going to be much better. But what your mind said is, but remember, warm croissant and chai. Because I'm just saying what my mind is telling me. And it's true. And I believe that it's also happening to you. It's the same thing. And what we do, we just run there and I pay with my card and then you enjoy. And then you feel maybe, I don't know, you have cramps or you are sleepy. And Guruji gives a talk, you come to his talk and then you're like passing out. It's not that you don't want to listen to him. You want to listen to him, but it's just you were that much close, and then croissant make it happen that you pass out. Yeah, but it's normal. We should not judge ourselves, but we should actually observe ourselves, how we are acting or what we are doing, and then. What Krishna answered to continue the Bhagavad Gita. So in the next verse 37, and Krishna says that it is desire born out of guna of rajas and the resulting anger. This is the all-devouring sinful enemy of the world. And it's because as how Rajas Guna works is that we are constantly impatient, we are constantly in a movement. So if we are constantly in movement with our bodies, so we are with our mind. So our mind is all over the place. And it's the same thing how Krishna said, the mind is uncontrolled. And when the mind is uncontrolled with me, like my mind is uncontrolled, and that most probably I can assume that we are all in the same pot, that we all have our mind uncontrolled in one way, somebody more, somebody less, but it's still fine. So how can I judge somebody if his mind is also not in control like mine? So first, I need to work on my mind or myself to go over that. And then when I'm in that level, I'm not going to judge again. Because I'm on that level, I actually going to help others to reach that state. Because judging is just because you're finding yourself very similar, or you can even find mirroring in other person. And that's what you do. You judge basically yourself, because unknowingly you're seeing yourself in the action of others. But once when you are above that, once when you know how to do it, that's why Krishna said, the controlled mind, it can be your friend, and uncontrolled mind can be your worst enemy. And then, as we said, because of that uncontrolled mind, all the understanding what we have, or knowledge what we have, it goes away. It's not there anymore. And then we act in a foolish way. And that's what happened to Hiranyakashipu, no? Because, as we said before, he was very learned. He knew who Narayana was. He knew all the scriptures. And he even said, my brother is a fool, that he went against him. But then once when his ego get hurt, and then, let's say, he become angry, and then he wanted to prove himself that he's worthy, then what happened? All this common sense, his reasoning, they were just thrown out from the window, and then he couldn't anymore make a right decision. And then it's what Krishna said here, the greatest among them is anger. And that's what we said. Hiranyakashipu has a lot of anger inside of him, that it just came out of somebody else said his opinion about something. And then we can see that there is happening degradation of the humankind right in this point of anger. And then one more slide or verse from Bhagavad Gita, which actually I like a lot. And when I talk about Bhagavad Gita, this is one of the most effective verses that we can talk about and people can relate. And it's in chapter 2, 62 and 63. And he said that one deliberates upon the sense objects. Attachment to them arise. From attachment comes desire. From desire arises anger. From anger arises delusion. From delusion there is a loss of memory. From loss of memory there is discrimination of destruction of discrimination occurs. And with the destruction of discrimination, one is lost. And here we can see it. This is actually happening to Hiranyakashipu. Out of anger, he lost his capability of discerning, viveka, what is good and what is not good. And then he just goes down the road. And then we just follow the same flow, and then we lose ourselves until the point that you just forget who you are. You forget all the knowledge, all the reason, or everything. You forget everything. And as we said before, people in this world, they just want power, and they just want to be somebody, to be famed, to be recognized. And then they will do everything to succeed. And most of them, if they don't succeed, I think in both cases, it will always awake this anger. Because if you don't succeed, This is the formula. But even if you are deliberate upon the sense object, attachment to them arise, and they receive what they want, what is happening after? They want another one, and another one. And it's always the same thing, that you're just in the loop of wanting more, and then you are short time happy, and then out of that, there is also anger comes, because sometimes you don't get what you want. And then you're just going down the road through this, where you actually become lost. So usually what we do, and we can also see in the story of Narasimha, we like to protect ourselves. And we like to protect ourselves to the extreme that we don't even know who is telling us. Like, even if you're a kid and your parents come to and then start schooling you, most of the time kids will always react. Because kids always think that they know what is good. Yeah? Because like, for example, myself, I always hear or I heard in a wrong way. In a way that, what I mean by that is that if my mom tell me, don't climb on the sofa, in my brain I will be like, yes, climb on the sofa and jump on the table. That's what I understood. And that's what, because there is no any normal, understanding of how to act or how to behave. And that's what you understand. You hear only what you want to hear. And that's what people are doing. And that's why we are always trying to defend ourselves, because we think that we know the best. And then the perfect example, how can I give and how Guruji works on us, is sometimes that it makes, how Guruji can make us, let's say, to lose reputation, because we all think that we are in one way special, and Guruji loves these people, or not these people, he loves this mentality of people, because we always think that we know what we are doing, that we are in the right position, that we know everything. Huh? And Guruji is just like that. He can crush everything. And that's what he does. Because why he does it? Because this is something that it belongs to this material world. It belongs to Maya. It belongs to mind. And this is not you. Remember what Krishna said. You are eternal. This is not you. So maybe one story to share. Because Guruji will also he will use any weapon to do it, to distract whatever is in front of him. So even you think that you know something, what he will do, he will say something wrong or accuse you that you're doing something wrong, which you never even did it. You never ever did this. And then he will accuse in front of everybody that you did this. And he just waits for you, how you're going to react. Right? So once, Swami Akash, Rishi Mukunda and me, I shared this story quite a few times, but I just love this story because Guruji's like, it goes extreme. Whenever you think that it's enough, he's like, no, I have a bit more, and then a bit more, and then a bit more. So when Guruji said that when you are close to Guru, you're like fire, it's literally mean that you are not close to the fire. I think you are standing in the fire. And sometimes he throws you maybe a fire blanket just to protect yourself, but it's for the short time. So what happened is that we were invited to come for lunch and dinner in his place every day, which was amazing. But our task, or to show him our gratitude, is to clean his house. Because there are many also other people coming and so on. And definitely you don't want to see Guruji cleaning his house. And there is no like a housekeeping and it will come in his house and clean. It's our job to do. So we were always, but nobody has a key of his house. So we were always trying to somehow find a way or a gap. How can we go up? But you don't want to ask Guruji for a key because this will never happen, that he will give you. So you always need to find a way. So we always sneaked up and quickly clean everything and quickly go back without noticing. And like, if you know us, like we are all quite clean people, I would say. Yeah. Even, especially Rishi Mukunda I share room with him since many years already, and he's very, very clean. So all his good qualities, which there are a lot, and especially one of them is cleanliness, definitely, let's say, went under my skin. So now when I see something dirty, I'm like, oh, I need to clean this. My mom will be very proud. What happened is that one day we decided to go up. So we went up. We enter in a bungalow, and you can hear a huge noise and a hoover. And then we came to the living room, and there is a Guruji hoovering his house, but like he's like a maniac. He's hitting every single corner with the hoover, so it makes so much noise. And hoover has wheels on it, so you don't even need to carry hoover. You can just pull the hoover with with a hose, yeah? But no, he's holding a hoover in one hand and hoovering with the other, and this cable, which you can just stop, is not even stopped. So he can't even have a longer leash on the hoover. So it's just drama, yeah? And he loves that. He always make it rich, yeah? So when you see him, you are actually in pain because you're like, your guru is hoovering in that way, and you also judge him. Well, the first thought is also like, really? Like, you can just put it down, but because the thoughts are so fast and it come and go so quickly that you don't even realize that you're thinking about them, but it's actually judgment. So we are trying to grab a hoover, he doesn't allow, and he's just doing his own language, and then once in a while he just say, oh, they never clean. But we cleaned day before, and now we came again to clean. So, but it's fine. Yeah? So we are trying to, let's say, somehow go into this and start cleaning and moving stuff just randomly to show that we are trying to do something, to want to help. Because what you're going to do, you're just like in that state of like, you want to help him, but he doesn't want, so you try to do something else. It's just it's a funny situation. Yeah? Now it's a funny situation. Before it was not funny. So he finished everything. He sit on the chair, and then what he did, he looked at us and he called us and he said, "Come here." So we went in front of him. We sit on the floor, and then he start his, let's say, a dialogue or speech, and on and on and on, and you are ungrateful. And you are like this, and you're like that. You never clean, never ever. Okay, but still, like, and it keep on going and going. And he's poking each one of us in the right spots. And we all know that we always clean. We always try to clean, and we came now to clean. But you don't want to be the one who say, no, Guruji, you're wrong. I clean. Yeah. You don't want to be that person. So you are trying, like, yes, you absorb. In one point, I almost started laughing because it was so funny. Because I think out of anger, I wanted to start laughing. You ever had this feeling that when you're so angry, you just want to start laughing? Yeah? And then he said, you know what? Finish. And then he actually called a person. I don't know, it was from Mauritius. And then he's telling them, random person, that how unclean we are and how dirty we are, and we don't do anything in his house, ungrateful. And I was like, okay, fine. This guy doesn't even know who. Like, can you imagine how this guy felt? And then I was like, okay, he kicked us from the group. He said, "You're never ever gonna come here anymore." Well, that's a tough. But it's okay. Like, I mean, his house, his rules. And then, as I said, Guruji always push a bit more. And you think that it's enough, that this is finished, that you can just walk away now, put your tail under and just walk away. It's not. What happened is that one person come inside, and that person, it's not that much clean. And usually when he eats, there are always some leftovers around. And this is also the person who is, from my point of view, is like, it's fine. Like, not everybody should clean. There is only a few people who can clean. But for example, he usually doesn't clean that often. And it's not like the judgment, it's just observation, what I see. You know? And then this person comes in, he sits on the table, and before even he asks something, and Guruji turns around and he starts again. And look at these people, they don't clean anything. He's explaining him. And in my brain, it's like, whoa. And that guy here, Guruji, he's the one who you're looking for, not me. He's the dirty man, not me. Like, and it's this thing, like you keep on trying to defend yourself. Of course, like once when you say the word out of your mouth, please, Lord helps you. So we had already quite, a rendezvous with Guruji, so we know when should we say something or when not. So we kept our mouth shut, and then, of course, and then this guy is like, yeah, he's confirming Guruji, and I'm like, oh, wow, nice, okay, fair enough. So we went and we left, and then actually, after maybe 2 weeks, again this mercy of Guruji shows again, because we all learn what we have to learn from that. And even the person who was there, he also learned afterwards. We also learned what he needed to learn with that situation, because everybody learning when you're around Guruji. Are you getting schooled at or not? If you're just as a witness, you are still learning, and you should learn from him in that way. And then out of course, Guruji is super sweet. And then what he did, he doesn't want to say, oh yeah, you can come back for food. What he did, he said that, you know what? Because some of the people, these people who are still there coming for food, they're always sad because you are not there. They always pray that you bring him back. That's absolutely not true. But he's just trying to excuse how to tell me that you can come back, without him telling you know what, you can come back. Yeah? But he just needs to find a way how to express himself in the way that it's always a challenge. But as the sweet is, again, his mercy, it's always there. Even if we teach you something and he's maybe rough on you, or when he's sweet and making some nice, comments, he's always sweet. He always wants to tell you something. And it's the same, as we said, with Hiranyakashipu and the Narasimha story, is that Narasimha or Narayana, he will always find the way how to poke and how to provoke the ego inside of us. And that's what's happening to Hiranyakashipu. He was getting more and more provoked, and more anger was awakening inside of him that he couldn't control. And then in that state, what he did is that he started destroying the temples of Narayana. He started burning all the pictures of Narayana. He started, bullying people who were worshipping Narayana. And it's in that state, what ego likes is that company. Because when you are sad, the thing what you like to do, you like to go to your friend, whoever, and you like to always say something, how your life is miserable. Yeah? And 9 out of 10 people will say, yes, it's true. And then also, they will say, yeah, but my life is more miserable than you. And it's always a comparison. Like, it's not even a satisfaction of like, you find the same like-minded people, let's say, but you also need to compare in that, I woke up at 5 this morning, and then I have to do this and that, and the other person listen, and he answers that, yeah, but wait, listen, my day, how much I did today. And it's just a comparison in misery. It's absolutely ridiculous, yeah? But we love that because we always try to find that we can feel better. Because if I'm sad and everybody else are happy, it's not nice. So you always want to find somebody who is maybe even more sadder than you so you can feel a bit better. And that's what Hiranyakashipu is doing. He, out of this anger, he started destroying everything what reminds him or where the people worshipping Lord Narayana, because he wanted to feel good, because he lost his viveka. But then also, if you ask, as I say, 9 out of 10, and then one person come to you and you're let's say complaining to him about your status in life, and then that person is like listening, he's like, yeah, but my life is quite good. I'm quite happy. And you will be like, and to you, Mr. Happiness, yeah, you will not want to listen to these people. You're just like, no, you are happy. You're not with me now. Like you need to apply with the things what I'm giving you. You need to respond. And so this is actually how the wisdom disappears when the ego gets involved. Because we always forget what is actually to be happy. Or we think that we know what is happy. We think that we know what is true love. And I think we need to understand that when the relationship between Hiranyakashipu and Narayana, and all this, how we are trying always to find this kind of same like-minded people in our misery, we also need to connect that to our relationship with Guruji. Because what is usually happen, we have to be grateful to see when Guruji teaching somebody. And that's very important. Because if you see, like for example, when Hiranyakashipu was just observing fight between Hiranyaksha and Narayana, he was very reasonable. He knows what is happening, and he knows what he's doing that is wrong, and know who Narayana is. And he was saying, oh yeah, he's fool. He knows everything because he's not part of it. He's out of the picture. And that's why our logic and everything is very, very sharp. We understand how it works. But what is happening when it's you? When are you in that position? So then all the wisdom, all the calmness, it's gone. Yeah? Because injustice, it's always there. We always find that injustice. Like for example, what I said, the story, when Guruji is teaching us that we are never cleaning the house, and then the other person come who is usually dirty, let's say, in that way, it's an injustice. In one way, if the mind catch it, and it's injustice because He's the one who should be scolded, not you. But of course, Guruji works in a different ways. So you always need to, let's say, adapt or find yourself how to do it. And then 90% people in the world will always say that I love God as long as He doesn't put fingers or interfere with my plan. Because it's true, many people, they go to temple, they pray, God fulfill their wish, and then, of course, everything is good. But once when the God, let's say, stop fulfilling their wishes because maybe it's not time for that, then they always find some problem with that. Once we were driving in Italy, and we were just driving up to the mountain, and then Guruji, out of nowhere, he just said that, to people who are not my devotees, he said, I fulfill all their wishes. But my devotees, maybe few. And he just continued on his phone, and I'm like, sorry, what? Like, can we have an elaboration on your sentence? And then I was thinking, and somehow it's true, because if you don't know and you're just praying for something to get, which you're gonna forget very fast, for them, prayer and that grace, what they receive after the prayer, for them is nothing. It's just like, yeah, I'm just lucky, or maybe God fulfilled my wish, but that's it. Like, let me search a new prayer or new wish, what I want to, that He fulfills for me. Because there is no any meaning, there is no any love, there is no any understanding behind. So he's like, no, he just throw it like this, because he can. It doesn't affect him. It doesn't affect God. But then, when Guruji said, but to my devotees, it's a bit different, because he said, I fulfill them once a while, which is actually not so true. We all, if you know our prayers and we know how much He does for us, it's a lot. But the point what he wanted to say is that because we cherish and we know what we are getting, and every time when He gives a prayer, every time when we pray and He fulfilled the prayer, you know why is it fulfilled, and you know from who is coming from. And that's what you appreciate, that's what you cherish. Because if you're getting it all the time, you're just going to be like, it's just one more day with prayer that is fulfilled. And you forget about it very fast. But when it's really sincere and He fulfill it, you know you will never ever forget. Yeah. So when I said that, it's very easy to be witness, but it's very difficult to be the person in the position of getting schooled at, because all the wisdom, as I say, as a calmness, they just disappeared. And once there was, Guruji likes lychees a lot. And there was a period of time, I have no idea why, when Guruji would give a darshan, there were a few darshan in a row, and everybody was just keep on bringing lychees over and over again. But not like, let me bring Guruji a small handful of lychees, because, like if you eat too much, it's also not good. But they were just bringing a basket of lychees. It's a lot. And it's only for one person. It's a lot. And they go bad also very fast. So Guruji had the idea, he's like, you know what? We're going to make an ice cream. So we were staying nights in a living room, few of us, peeling that lychees, removing the seed from inside. And then they were crushing them and so on, and making ice cream and putting in a freezer. It was a I'm telling you, days or nights of work. And then once, Guruji's like, we have a dinner. And Guruji called me. I was already quite often in his place. And Guruji called me. He said, like, bring for me ice cream. So I said, okay. So I went there. I grabbed ice cream. I grabbed a lychee. And there is also one more ice cream, which is, I think it was mango or something like this. I think it's different flavor. And then I scoop for 2 bowls for Guruji, and I bring it to him, and he's watching something, and then he told me like this: just give to others. And in my brain, it's like, give lychees to others. And I'm like, what a haribol! We all gonna have amazing lychee ice cream. So I went there, and I very happy and proud that I'm gonna serve. I scoop all the lychee and I start bringing. I bring one to Swami Aniruddha and Swami Revati, who were sitting close to Guruji. And then, ice cream is in front of them. They just start eating. They're all celebrating because a lychee is coming. Yeah. And Guruji turns around and he's like, where do you get this ice cream? And he's like, Jiva gave it to me. And then you can hear, because I'm in a kitchen, but I can slightly hear the conversation, but I'm not sure what is happening. And then you can hear from the kitchen, from the living room, I can't scream on phone, but on the mic, but he's like, Jiva. So I came there, and I was like, oh, here we go. And then it's how dare you? You think that you are special. You think that you are here for a long time. You think that you know everything in this house where it belongs. How dare you give my lychee to others? And I'm thinking like, yeah, but there is a lot of ice cream. And I doubt that you're going to eat like 3 kilos of lychee ice cream. But I'm not saying it, but I'm just thinking about it. But still, it was very, very tough. It was very, very tough. Because sometimes Guruji is not, he gives you a lesson for 10 minutes. No, he gives you a lesson the whole night. Then the next day, he calls you. And then again, he continues his mercy. Yeah? And so on, and so on, and so on. And it's amazing to see how you actually start transforming. And you're actually not getting so much involved because you're just like, oh man, I gave up. I think there is nothing to do anymore. I just like, it's finished. Like, just do what you have to do and just leave me as peace. Like, if there is a peace, but just leave me there. Like, and he's keep on doing it. He's keep on doing it because he knows that there is some pride. Because there was pride. Because when I was reflecting, I was getting pride. I was getting prideful because of being there, because doing what I could do, because the, let's say, proximity, what he gave me. And he doesn't like that. So he needed to cut very fast and very sharp. And that's what he did. And again, that is what I said, Guruji's mercy. And then when we look Narasimha's mercy, Guruji said in Brazil, he said that Narasimha is the most merciful one. And then most of the people were like, sorry, what? The most merciful one? Well, Krishna is there with a nice smile waiting for you. And you are saying that this guy there, full of blood and ripping the man apart, he's the most merciful one. Some of them are like, I disagree. But let's see why he said it. He said that when you come to him, Guruji said, when you come to him, you're ready to, every solution is necessary to fix you. Because he will fix you no matter what. You just need to be ready to come. If you don't come, he'll be like, fine for me. But if you can't, he's like, okay, come. Let me sort you out. It's the same like when you go to a doctor, yeah? And if doctor needs to amputate your leg to save your life, he will do it. There is no question about it. because that's his job. And Narasimha's job is to fix what is not good inside of us. Willingly or unwillingly from our side, he will just do it. And as you can see, also, he's the shortest, let's say, he spent, out of all avatars, he is the shortest amount, he spent shortest amount of time here on the earth. And that also indicates that he's just here for business. He doesn't want to play around. He comes, he fixes what is needed, and he goes. And that's how actually he is. And he's not like, for example, he will not talk with people. He will not, like, for example, Krishna, play with gopis and gopas and go to exile for 14 years, as Rama did for his ignorant parents when they make wrong decisions. In Mahabharata as well, for example, Duryodhana, how many Krishna takes the, offenses from Duryodhana. He could just sort him out immediately, but he didn't. Same as Bhishma. Bhishma knew who Krishna was, but he was very stubborn, and he was thinking that he knows the best, not the best, but he knows that why he's fighting for, and he chose that side. Eventually he died, but the point is that Narasimha is not like this kind of avatars, that he would just patiently wait and talk with you and be a friend and then slowly become a guru and so on. He just comes and sorts you out. And actually, is very similar to, when you think about it, to Guruji. He's very fast. Guruji is not that you do something wrong and he would like, my child, come sit in my lap and tell me all your problems, and we will try to find a way how to fix them. But you're so good, you should do this and that. And it doesn't work like that. He just immediately in the face, like, this is wrong, this is wrong. Of course he will say, this is good, this is less good, improve this. But also Guruji is pushing experiences a lot, because through experiences you actually feel the difference when something is changing inside of you. Because if there is no experiences, most of the time we will just live, let's say, I see it as a monotone life. There will be nothing that is scarred inside of us that we know, I don't go this street anymore because I know where this leads. Yeah, because as I said, that most of the people like this kind of mercy as a motherly mercy, that you're going to come and confess and then she will help you and so on. Guruji doesn't work like that. Narasimha doesn't work like that. He's very, very straightforward. And then we can see the difference between his mercy and others. As we said, as how he came and how he deal with, let's say, our negativities, and how, for example, Krishna deals with his negativities, or Rama and so on. But also we see how he's actually deal with the connection between Narasimha. Narasimha deal with connection with Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad. For Hiranyakashipu, his mercy that he was killed, and he dealt with him in that way. He wanted to get rid of whatever he was thinking. And with Prahlad, he saved him. And because Narasimha's and his goal is just to protect his devotees. He doesn't want to, let's say, allow us not to even think. He would just come and kill everything what is needed. Let him think for you. Yeah? And then it sounds that many people sound and was said that he's very terrifying. Once I was giving a tour, and we were in front of Narasimha, and there was a young couple, and they were mostly interested in meditation and let's say Babaji and so on. So all the deities here, they were interested, but they were like, yeah, it's fine, yeah. And immediately when we come to Narasimha and I start talking a little bit about him, they were like, they were looking already a time, and they were saying like, can you show us where is this Babaji cave? Like we would like to go meditate. This, because sometimes it's too much. Yeah? Because many people are afraid. Like when Hiranyakashipu came out, Narasimha came out of pillar, he had the red blazing eyes. And for Prahlad, there was the sweetest red eyes he ever seen. But for Narasimha, for Hiranyakashipu, I keep on mixing these two. But for the Hiranyakashipu, he was terrified. He was very terrified. And when I was thinking about this, it came to one story came to my mind when Guruji somehow catch me out of guard, and we were about to go down to the ashram, to the main lobby here, and before we exit the house, he came to me and he said that, can I ask you a question? I'm like, well, you don't even need to say that, but yes. He said, are you afraid of me? I was like, what? And then before even I start saying something, he's like, no, think about it. I just go grab something. So he left me with that thought, and I was like, it's a good question. Because in a way, I am afraid because that's what I tell him. Like, in a way, I am afraid if I don't perform good, or I make some mistake, or I offend you. This I don't want. But like this, no. And then he came back and I explained him, let's say, somehow in that way. And then he said, you see, many people actually are afraid of me. But I don't know why. Like, I don't want that people are afraid of me. Like, I do everything for them. I do everything what is in my best for their best. And he was actually very sad. He was very, very sad. So even when he's tough, he chooses to be that, just that he can teach us something. Let's say he chooses to be a bad guy in a relationship so that we can grow. And can you imagine which kind of sacrifice that is? And as I said, like, he can continue this for days to be a bad guy in a relationship. And you think that you are suffering? Like, oh no, poor me, poor my ego. How he's feeling? Because he's have to act differently what he feels. And that's what Hiranyakashipu and Narasimha, between them, he saved him, but he did it in his own way. Now we can say, in which way he did it, is it merciful or not? That's a different things to debate. In which way he killed him. But still, it's just his mercy and his love for him. And then, which leads us to Prahlad's wisdom and his boon. So after Narasimha killing Hiranyakashipu, he turns to Prahlad and he says, I came here because of you, and please tell me anything, I will fulfill anything what you want. And Prahlad, out of his humility, he said, I don't want anything. I really don't want anything. And he was insisting, he said. And he said, okay, I just want to keep you in a shelter so that you are always with me, so that you are always in the heart, as we say, Hridaya Guya, the cave of the heart, that you are always there, and then I never forget. And this is actually where it said that experience against constant experience. Because in spiritual path, we may feel blissful sometimes. We may feel the peak of our current spiritual state, or moments when we felt something very deep, but they are gone, yeah? And then what we try to do, we try to recreate them, we try to remember them, we try to do everything what is possible just to feel it again. Yeah, many people will recreate the same environment so they can feel whatever they felt maybe 5 years ago. And if it doesn't work, sadly, we actually start making them up, which is actually even more sadder. Instead of just, we don't need to force them to recreate, or because we have them already and they were always there inside of us. They just revealed a little bit, and then we just need to go back in that state. Because our mind is a memory card. Everything is there. We just need to go there and everything will come back. Of course, it's not easy, but with the practice, it will happen. So that's why Prahlad's wisdom is that he said that he wants to have it always. He wants to have it always, to experience, to have this constant experience all the time. Because most of the people in the world, they just live from one day to another, from experience to experience, from pleasure to pleasure. How many times, like you can say, or I said before, when I was going out and partying, is like the main sentence is like, oh, you live only once. And that only once, it was not even for the life, it's just for that night. And then you go full. And then the next day, and then you think that's the worst decision of your life. And then a few days later, you find yourself again doing the same thing, saying the same thing, and it's over and over again. So Prahlad's wisdom, he knows what he asked for. He said, let me experience this, but constantly. Let me always be in that state. Let me always feel you. So the true wisdom, what I understood from here, is that asking the right questions, asking the right question like Prahlad, let me always feel you, let me always be with you, let me always experience you no matter what. And as we know, Prahlad has a guru who was Narada Muni. He was always chanting Narayan, Narayan. And that's what he did. What did Prahlad did? He was always chanting Narayan, Narayan. And we can see that how Guru is, his disciple is the same. And just by thinking about him and chanting, Narasimha he had to come down. There is no other way. And I think also that's why I see from this story when I think about it, I think also that's why I see how Guruji is very, let's say, pushing us to chant always. Because we always take it for granted. We always, it's okay. 45 minutes, it's okay, I think. 50 minutes more, or I did yesterday 1 hour and 50 minutes, so today I can do 45. It's like we are making a deal with God. But it's not like this. That's why he's saying, like, chant, chant, and chant. Because that's what happens here. And maybe you will think that, well, Prahlad is quite high personality. Yeah? And Narasimha came only for him. How can I be in the same position? With my flaws and everything, how can I be? Like, I can't even compare myself with him. And then it comes, actually, Prahlad's mercy is that after the whole Narasimha Lila, before Prahlad left his body, in Srimad Bhagavatam it's written he left 9 forms of bhakti, Navada Bhakti, and he left for us to practice. He said, here we go, there is 9 forms, you practice each one of them, and you're going to achieve what I achieved. Very simple. And it's only 9. It's not a lot. Hiranyakashipu was doing thousands of years of penance just to get the one boon. And Prahlad is like, here we go, 9 of them. You can just practice them. And they're actually very simple. He did by himself what he did all the time. He was chanting, was kirtanam, and then he was thinking about him, he was smaranam. There are only 2 what you can do, and you can already achieve so much. And then coming back to a question, what we asked from before, how do you see your life with Guruji or with God, or however you want to call it, on a spiritual path? Is it individuality or dependence on God? Or how is cooperating these 2 with God? So as we see, or we could already make a conclusion, individuality belongs, let's say, to Hiranyakashipu, and dependence on God belongs to Prahlad. But then I researched a little bit and I found very nice, and it said that he said that being in individuality, he said, I don't need God. That's what also Hiranyakashipu thinks. I don't need the God. I can do everything by myself. He said, I can conquer a death, because that was his boon to Brahma. Maybe I never be killed by any human being, by any animal, not in the air, not on the ground, not on a day, not in the night, and so on. And he was very against everything, because that's what people who think that they can do by themselves, they do. They think like that. They always think, I can do by myself. I don't need God. I don't need Guru. I don't need mercy. I achieved so much, so why, and by myself, so I can do everything else. And if you reduce to let's say, to our way of life, is very similar. We always think that we know more than the others, or that we know more than our Guru, that we know more than a teacher in a school. But we forget that each position who has, like if you're in a school and you have a teacher, he has a position there to teach you because he just knows more. And if you grow spiritually, you have a Guru because he just knows more. And then why is it so difficult just to put your head down and just put palms together and say, yeah, please teach me, please instruct me. And then we have Prahlad. On the other side, he shows that real spirituality, or the maturity in spirituality or in life, even if he was a son of a demon, he still achieved so much. He was courageous, he was peaceful, he helped other schoolmates to change their point of view, to change their belief, because they all start worshipping Narayana. It's just by Navada Bhakti. And he said that the strength for him, the strength to endure, because he was tried to killed by his father multiple times, and the strength for him, for Prahlad, comes not out of power and so on, but actually out of humiliation, out of surrender. So how do we actually understand cooperation with God? How can where we find ourselves? Because I believe, from my point of view, there is both. there is individuality and also there is dependence on God. There is no one and another. I think there is both. Because it depends how you act and how you allow that. Because he said that if you align your individuality with God, then you can cooperate much better, and then you can also start depending on God. So if my individuality, if I am forcing myself or everything what I do is aligned to Him, dependence of God is inevitable. It will happen. However, because we all are independent from God, we all depending on God. It's impossible that we are, because it's a life. Everything that surrounds us is just a life that He provides, nobody else. It's not that we invent the oxygen. It's always there. Or sun. It's just the small things that not nobody, but most of the people, they don't even pay attention to this stuff. So what I would like to conclude this is that, you don't see so much. So how I like to conclude here is that how we actually cooperate with God, but the way how actually Prahlad sees it. So we have, as he said, Narada Bhakti, and one of his primordial one, and one what Guruji also teach, and what he performed throughout his life is Smarana Bhakti. So you keep on thinking about God. Then we have dependence on God doesn't mean being weak. Doesn't mean being weakness. Because most of the people will say like, oh, you are depending on somebody, you are weak. And it's not true. You're becoming stronger and stronger because to who you're depending is the strongest one. He holds the strongest. He is the strongest one, and he holds the strength. He is able to give. So if I eat that companionship, let's say, if I'm with that, hanging out with this kind of, let's say, environment, you're going to become even stronger. And then aligning your individuality with divine will. And I always remember somebody asked Guruji, and he said that, how can I know that I'm fully surrendered? Like I'm on this path for many, many years, and I feel like it's just, there is no other way. But then he said, but how can I know that I'm fully surrendered? Like if you understand what it means, fully surrendered. And Guruji's answer was very simple, which is actually sometimes very frustrating, because you want to hear some philosophical explanations. And everything what Guruji said is that when you stop having plan B, I was like, oh, it makes sense. Because as long as there is a plan B, that means that there's going to be plan C and plan D and so on and so on. And then individuality is not anymore in cooperation with God. Then it's just individuality, because you start making so many options, so many ideas and so many plans that there is no anymore God in this equation. But if it's only plan A, his plan, then it's okay. Then my individuality is working through the plan A. How can I collaborate with God? And I think that's also what Guruji wants from us, is that we actually ask ourselves how many we are trying to follow plan A, his plan, and stop giving our own ideas and plans and I'm not saying that it's not good. It's the mission, the people you need to work. There is always plan of future, but the plans of yourself and the plans how you think that you are better, that you are stronger in conquering something without him. So as we said, we repeat, we have 3 points that I would like that we all take from here is that Navada Bhakti, thinking about God, which is Smarana Bhakti, as Prahlad, all the time thinking about him. Then we have a second one. Its dependence on God doesn't mean weakness. We need to understand that we are not weak. Because if we have his side, if we have him on our side, we are not weak. And then we can go in any fight we want. And the last one is aligning your individuality with divine will. So that we are always what Guruji will think that is best. If I act, if I need to answer on a question, how Guruji will answer this question? What do you think? How Guruji will do that? How the saints act? You ask yourself before you act. And I think this is the key point, three key points that we could actually take away from this lecture. And yeah, that's it, and we should not prolong too much. Om Shanti 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 Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Paramsivalo Sadgurudeva Swami Vishwananda Mahaprabhu Ki Jai.